Hi, my name is Dr. Rick Franks, and welcome to your Minute to Health. I want to do something a little bit differently today and talk to you a little bit more on a personal level about some thoughts that we as chiropractors have. You know, as a chiropractor, I don't know if you know this, but we've been called lots of names in the past, and starting with quack, all right, and charlatan. I've been asked many times, you're not a real doctor, are you? Lots of things like that I take with a grain of salt, because obviously we did not do a good enough job of educating people, educating the public to realize who we are and what we do. But one of the things that really got to me one day is I had a person he found out that I was a chiropractor, and he said, "Oh yeah, you guys are pretty weird." And I just thought about that, because usually I just kind of let stuff like that roll off my back. I have no problems, but he called me weird. And I started thinking, what is it, if somebody is willing to tell me that I'm weird, what is it that I do that makes me weird? All right, what makes us so different that people think that we're weird? So I started thinking about this and putting this whole thing together, and I said, am I weird because as a chiropractor, I acknowledge that there's an intelligence that took two cells, and this intelligence put these two cells together, and over a period of 280 days created about 40 quadrillion specialized cells, each going to a certain place, doing a certain thing at a certain time, creating brain cells, liver cells creating liver cells, stomachs creating themselves, 60 miles of nerves going through the body, 80,000 miles of blood vessels in our body, 450 million nerve tracts going inside this body, and this whole thing puts this thing together in 280 days. Does that make me weird that I acknowledge that and I think that it's pretty cool? Is it weird that I think that my brain, or our brain, is the master coordinator, it's the computer, it's the brain trust, it's the whole enchilada, it's what runs our whole ship, all right? And it knows more than all the greatest doctors in the world all put together in one place. It knows everything that we ever need to make and stay healthy. Is that weird? Is it weird that I understand that our nerve system controls and coordinates every single function of the body, and this nerve system communicates with the brain, both up and down, from the brain to the cells and back to the brain again, and it coordinates. And this is what every medical textbook in the world teaches us. Is that weird? I thought, those can't be why we're weird. Then I thought, well, is it weird that maybe that we think as a chiropractor that an interruption between the brain and these tissue cells can cause less than 100% function, less than 100% of the body's ability to do what it knows how to do, to heal itself, to get better all the time, to reproduce itself, to do what it needs to do all the specialized functions that we can't even think about. Is that weird? And is it weird that we as chiropractors try to attempt to remove this interference from the brain to the tissue cells and restore communication between the brain and the body, that maybe the body could work a little bit better? Is that weird? So as a chiropractor, that's what we do. So if you think that maybe we're weird, I guess based on that, if you think so, then I have to say, yeah, I'm weird. On the other hand, let me tell you what I think is weird, okay? I think that this same intelligence that created this masterpiece in 280 days, in 9 months, and put this whole thing together where it was supposed to be, and did it all perfectly, and it didn't rely on the pickles and the ice cream, is suddenly taken over by a group of people who seem to know when that baby is supposed to be born, and because they're going to do it in the best interest, in the safety of that baby, they take over everything about deciding when that baby is going to be born. I think that's a little weird. Maybe it's a little weird that within minutes, we begin putting chemicals into this infant. We put chemicals into their eyes. We put shots into their bodies because somehow we seem to know better than the intelligence that put this thing together in the first place, what that baby needs rather than intelligence. I think that's a little weird. I think it's a little weird that within the first year, we inject toxic chemicals such as mercury, aluminum, formaldehyde, aborted fetus cells, viruses, antibiotics, monkey kidney cells, yeast, detergents, chicken embryos. We put this into our 1-year-old babies, not once, but 26 times. By the time, and all in the name of medicine, by the way, because we know what's best for this baby. And by the time these babies are now 6 years old, we'll have repeated this process 40 more times. Let me tell you, if as a parent, you were to put this stuff into your child, into your baby, having them drink it, inject it in them, you would be arrested for child abuse and in endangering this child's lives. If you took these ingredients that we inject into these babies and you threw them into your city water, you could be arrested for terroristic activities. But we don't think about it for a minute when we allow them to put these things into our babies. By the time these 6-year-olds become teenagers, 30% of these teenagers are on prescription medications for the rest of their life. And many of these drugs are in the same class as cocaine. And we think that that's okay. All right? We're taught, we teach our children, we're taught that if we feel good, we're healthy. Now think about that for a minute. Do you think that you can feel good and have high blood pressure? Do you think that you could feel good and have high blood sugar? All right? Do you think that you could feel good and have heart disease? Every one of us knows somebody that felt good and dropped over dead with a heart attack. That heart didn't go from 100% live to 100% dead in that instant. No, there were things going on. We just didn't feel it. But if we do hurt, we are taught to go to the doctors. We teach our children, go to the doctors, and he will give us a chemical that will take that pain away. All right? And once that pain is away, then we think, oh, we're healthy again because there's no more pain. We're healthy. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, that's the same thing as cutting the wire to the fire alarm. Oh, the fire alarm's out. Everything's okay. No, the fire's still going. We just cut the alarm from the fire alarm. We just cut the wire to the fire alarm. We don't feel it anymore. We don't hear it anymore, but that fire's still going. As adults, 70% of us are on medications. All right? Some of us are on so many medications that we have to go out and buy a pill box with 14 different boxes in it because we can't keep track of all the pills we're taking. We watch commercials every day, and 3 out of 4 commercials are drug commercials. And these commercials tell us how they spend 3/4 of their time telling us how that their side effects can kill us, cause psychotic actions, psychotic thoughts, suicidal tendencies. But we run out and buy them anyhow. All right? And if we go to the doctor and he won't prescribe them to us, what do? We go to another doctor and we find them. I think that's kind of weird. Actually, I don't think it's weird. I think it's demented thinking. Most people call it healthcare. All right? So, you still think that I'm weird? You know, personally, I'll stick with weird. But maybe just one of you or a couple of you that see this, you go, well, maybe I've got a point. Well, if you do think that maybe there's a little better way than drugging yourself up and cutting things out and living this medical world, then maybe you should go find a chiropractor. All right? If you need one, look us up. All right? We're right under here. We'll take care of you. Thanks a lot for listening. My name's Dr. Rick Franks, and thanks for your Minute to Health.